there. When we were kids, we sometimes had irrational fears, or fears that we thought were rational, and then when we got older, logic dictated to us that they weren't really rational after all. And some of those things that we were really afraid of are actually kind of funny in retrospect. So I thought that I would make a video of things that used to scare me when I was a kid. You know how when you're a kid and there's a movie that scares you, so for whatever reason you watch it over and over and over again? Well, when I was a kid, that movie was The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, because I was terrified of the Headless Horseman. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the way he was animated. I don't know whether it was because the original Disney cartoon short was just really good at being scary, or that creepy ass laugh. All I know is that as a child I was terrified of the Headless Horseman, and as an adult I actually kind of really like it, especially as Halloween decorations, because I don't know, it just reminds me of being little and scared and watching it over and over and over again. Another fear that I thought was perfectly rational to have as a child was of dinosaurs. Since the first time I saw Jurassic Park, I just scared of dinosaurs. Now, I wasn't scared in the sense that I couldn't be around them or I couldn't watch Jurassic Park or anything like that. I just had a healthy respect, a reasonable fear that they could and would eat me if they had the chance. Obviously, seeing as dinosaurs existed billions of years ago, and unless they do go Michael Crichton style and genetically engineer them or something, I'm pretty sure I'm safe from the big dinosaur department. But still, you know, I just still have a healthy respect for how large and terrifying dinosaurs were. This next fear is a little hyper-specific, but I thought it was a completely rational fear when I was a kid. I had a fear of radiation making insects large. When I was younger, I had seen a lot of like B sci-fi movies like Them and It and just all the pronouns of things getting big because of radiation. And I thought that that was plausible and or likely, and I was worried that like either giant ants or giant spiders or giant cockroaches or giant something, like at some point there'd be some kind of radioactive accident and some insect was going to get very huge and was going to eat me, and I was terrified. Which, you know, that's a pretty reasonable thing to be afraid of. That is terrifying. Giant ants are fucking scary. You see how organized ants are? It's terrifying. Another fear that I had when I was a kid was of meteors falling out of the sky and somehow hitting me. Now, obviously, as I got older, I realized that the likelihood of a meteor making it through the atmosphere to hit you was astronomical, but also just that, you know, meteors actually crashing into Earth is just, it does not happen that much. They just can't make it through all the atmosphere. But as a child, I just thought that like somehow there was gonna be a meteor and I was just gonna be eating a sandwich and then it was gonna come through the ceiling and kill me. I really thought that that was a legit concern that I should have. Last fear I have is, I think, a little hyper-specific just to me, but I was like freakishly afraid of my parents disappearing. Like, I think that just happened a lot in 80s and 90s movies or something, because I got the idea into my head that my parents could be like kidnapped or lost somewhere or stranded or something, and that I would be the only one who could save them. Like, I was just so afraid, to the extent that one time when I was a kid, my dad had to go under the house to fix a pipe, and I was taking a nap or something and my mom wasn't home, so my dad told my older brother, like, hey, I'm going under the house just so you know, and he went to go do it, and when I woke up and none of my parents were there, I run in and tell my brother, was like, oh my god, Dad's not here, we gotta go! And my brother, who was just kind of being a jerky older brother, was ignoring me and being like, yeah, sure, fine. And I'm like, Matt, there's not a second to lose, we gotta go! And before he could realize what was happening, I ran out of the house, ran the 3 blocks to my grandparents' house and tried to get in, but they weren't home either, and I was just pounding on the door screaming. And then my grandparents' neighbor came out and saw this very terrified little girl and asked me if I was okay, and I was just like, oh, my parents and my grandparents, everybody's gone. I'm all alone. And by that point, my dad had come out from under the house and figured out what was happening, and I turned around and he was walking down the street. And I was just so afraid and so terrified and happy to see him that I didn't even get in trouble, but my older brother did, because apparently they thought he should have stopped me. So those are things that I was afraid of as a kid, but I'm not necessarily afraid of now because of either the unlikelihood of them happening or because I know that my parents would probably be fine if they disappeared. They'd figure it out, they're adults. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe if that's your thing, and in the comments, feel free to tell me what you were afraid of when you were a kid, and if the answers are really funny and interesting, I might make a whole video just of me reading you guys' responses. It'll be really funny.